Well, good morning and afternoon, good day, whatever time it is where you are. This is another episode of Can This Be Real? I have a special guest again today. His name is Gregory Crockett. I've known Greg for, again, many years. He's a guitarist, of course. Most of my friends are guitarists. But I've known Greg for quite a long time. He's a producer, an engineer, um, right, a songwriter. He's worked for several major companies, uh, and I'm sure he'll get into that when we get started. As I said, Greg and I go back many, many years, and I admire his work, the things that he's done in the music business, and I hope that you will enjoy this session of Can This Be Real? Um, don't forget my book, Music Saved My Life, From Darkness into the Light. But without any further ado, I would like to introduce to you Mr. Gregory Crockett. Hello, Greg, and welcome, welcome, welcome to Can This Be Real?
What's up, man?
Hello, Greg. And the question is, to start off with, do you remember the year that you met Natural 4?
Yes, I do. I remember the year. The year was in 1967. I was 17 years old. That was like 53 years ago. And you came over to ask my mother if I could play behind the group. And you guys talked about it for a while on the front porch. And then she said, as long as you make sure he's okay, and you said you agreed that you would make sure that you'd be looking over me in this circumstance.
Right.
That's what it was. So, and then from that point, I started practicing with you guys. Uh, and it was like really kind of off for me because I'm dealing with some older people that's been in the business longer or maybe in a more professional realm. So it was interesting and exciting to a degree. And then from that point on, we started doing little gigs, different places in the Bay Area, shows, and travel. Did some traveling with Lou Vasani. I guess he was booking the stuff. And we would go to Texas. We've been to Texas. We went to LA. We went to different places doing shows with the Natural Four. Yeah.
How long did you work with the group? Because I don't personally remember.
I'm sorry. How
How
long
long
did I?
how long did you work with the group?
I would say, dang, from 17, I would say until I got to be 19, 19 or 20 or something like that. Because from that point on, I started working with John Turk at the Third Street Annex and started traveling with the Coasters and all that. Um, and then, yeah, I would say something around that time.
And your experience with the group, I mean, uh, on stage and off stage, across the board, what was your experience like working with Natural 4?
On stage and off stage.
Mhm.
Off stage, it was I don't know. It was okay, but it was just a mind existence camaraderie going on. Um, the group was together, but they weren't together in spirit. As far as I was concerned, it was like you know, um, they had too much going on, and one person was slinging dope. The other person was stealing, is going to jail. You know what I mean? Um, So they weren't really together in spirit as a group should be. Like the Temptations, they all had this one hunger and one vision and one focus. They wanted to be stars. That was it. No second, nothing. They're not thinking about, going over here and taking this or, they had an artist uh, viewpoint. And like you yourself, you had an artist viewpoint because that's all you wanted to do. But these other guys, they wanted to be slick. They want to be pimps. They want to be, dope dealers. They want to be all this other shit. So that, to me, was a crippling element in that group. because it was too many directions and they weren't had single-minded in the direction they wanted to go. And I think that was probably the downfall. Because the wrong people, wrong personnel was in there. And some of the people like Punkin couldn't even sing. I mean, he was out of key all the time. He sang, I guess he sang the high notes because he thought they were easier to hit. But he was a real singer to me. I mean, it's like, now that I, look back at it, it's like, he was, and I hope y'all edit that part out because I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings, but he was always flat, in the, so I remember all of that.
Well, I mean, these are the things that I've already said in my book, Music Saved My Life. I say these things, so you're not saying anything that everybody else that has interviewed that knew us. I mean, for me, you were, again, for me, validation to my opinion of Punkin as a vocalist. He was not really, he liked the limelight. He didn't understand, or he didn't really care about the end result, what's going to happen in 5 years. Nobody saw past the moment. You got to deal with both.
They weren't true artists. The true artists are still doing it right now. You know what I'm saying? The true artists are really they're still doing what they set out to do, music or whatever. Exactly. And you see all the other people branched off to other places. That's who they really are. You got to look at people for who they really are. So that's what. And the catch is to try to identify that early on. So you won't have to trip.
Well, yeah, I didn't know. I mean, I watched. Because you were with the original, right?
I was with John Strawberry, John something Berry.
John January.
Oh, January, yeah.
Alan Richardson.
Yeah, were they the originals?
Punkin, John, and Alan were the original group that I joined in 68. Okay? Yeah, 67, 68. And the transition came over a couple of years. The transition came to Steve and Delmas. And then eventually Daryl came in. And that's when we got the contract with Curtom. This was after the ABC contract. But everything that you're saying and everything that everybody else that I've interviewed that was back in the day, everybody says the same identical thing, which tells me, because one will admonish oneself if you don't have validation from people that you don't. I didn't sit down and tell you to say what you just did. That's the first thing that came out of your mouth, which is appreciated because it's the truth. Punkin was always flat. I've said that over and over again. There were times when you could tweak it enough where you get by, but that's what was wrong with the first album. There was no true solid harmony. Whereas with Steve, Daryl, and Delmas, our harmony was tight. Daryl was a true first tenor. Delmas was a very good singer. He's just a criminal. He's a very good singer.
Yeah, I know. He's just poor guy. He couldn't get his direction straight.
Well, he really didn't want to. I mean, some people, that's just how some people are. But aside from that, what do you think of the material that Natural 4 recorded after the first album?
What did I think of the material?
The stuff with Curtom.
On the Curtom label?
Yes.
On that particular record, I thought it was pretty good. I thought, well, they had a shot with that one song. Yeah, but I didn't really study the material on that album that much. I only heard the single. Yeah, and it sounded like it had its own personality, and it had its own identity. And it could have done something. At least start off the situation where you could have put something else out that start piggybacking. At least you got recognition from it.
Yeah. Well, you know that we had that one. The first one was "You Bring Out the Best in Me."
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear that one?
I can't remember it, but no, I can't remember it. You
Well,
bring out the best of me.
the first one that they released on it was "You Bring Out the Best in Me,"
Mm.
and then subsequently after that one came out, "Can This Be Real" came out, and that was a Leroy Hudson production. Everybody and their mama knows "Can This Be Real."
Mm.
I guess the thing that bothered me is the fact that I wish that I had been able to lead. I could have led it, but Leroy Hudson preferred Delmus's vocal style.
Mm.
So they gave it to him. It did well because Delmus was really a very fluid singer. He was just a very fluid person, period, in terms of.
I think it has to do with casting, and that's something I had to learn doing productions. You working with Motown, you have all these different artists with all these different personalities, and they come across as the different individuals. And I had to cast singers according to the song. Like one song, like I had to write for okay, like if I wrote for a song for Four Tops, then that personality has to be for the four tops. You know what I'm saying? So everybody in the group of the Natural Four had different personalities. They had different, different personalities in the sense where it come off, And so if a song particularly, I mean, I could. I could probably sing a song that somebody else is singing, but it's probably a voice that fits that song better than mine.
Yes.
And that's called casting. You get the right song for the right voice, the right person. And that in all songs are not designed for every vocalist.
Exactly. I agree.
Yeah.
When Delmus led that song, he was the best person for it. He really was, because he had that fluid style. Then that was the very first album. That album kind of, I think, gave people, which is the just the Natural Four. They call it the "Can This Be Real" album, but it was just titled just Natural Four. That one really gave everybody a chance because we had "Try Love Again," we had "Baby Come On." These are all the songs off of that album, and all the songs that. "How Have You Been," which is a slow one that Steve sang. He sang it perfectly. And I think that Leroy could hear all the different voices. So what you said makes sense. When he casted him for that, he casted the right person. I can't complain about that. It was just that Delmus was not, vocally he was the right person. Personality-wise and the things that he did, he was not the right person. But no one was thinking about that at the time. We just wanted to get a song out there. And it got us on a lot of television shows. I mean, at least 7 times.
It was a great start for something else to come. It could have been, had it been manipulated in that way. It was a great opening to the world to let the world know who you are. They recognized, and it was a time it could have been really utilized to even further your career. Even further.
It wasn't, because there was no management of the group. You know what I'm saying? Had we had some type of management, some type of somebody saying, okay, this is what you're going to do. It doesn't matter, that never happened. I struggled all the years just to try to keep shit together. And sometimes that, working within the group itself, that's a difficult task, as well as trying to sing. But aside from that, what are some of the things that you've accomplished as an artist, writer? Who are some of the people that you've worked with?
Oh man, I worked with a lot of people. George Clinton, I did stuff with Lenny Williams, Tower Power, Four Tops, Martha Reeves and Vandellas, Weather Girls, Sylvester, Smokey. Well, I didn't do anything with Smokey, but we worked on the same movie together for soundtracks with Stevie Wonder, Smokey, and Rockwell, and some other acts on that particular movie score. And let's see, I've done stuff with Freddie Hubbard. That's one of my first things, the jazz, Freddie Hubbard and Joe Henderson and Charles Earling, Fantasy Records. I've worked with a lot of people. It's hard to even remember everybody.
I know you have. And do you think that you've been relatively successful or successful?
I'm sorry, relative successful? Yes. I mean, for us, what I wanted to do, I've been able to do anything I wanted to do in my life, pretty much. I mean, sure, it's ups and downs and things. That's what life is, it's a roller coaster. But the thing is, I was blessed and fortunate enough to whatever I put my scopes toward, it would flare out for me. You know, I worked with shouldered with the most influential artists in the world, and according, you know, and being able to write stuff for these people and produce these people and learn at the same time. You know, Barry Gordy was a great mentor. Harvey Fuqua was a great mentor. It's Dave, what's Dave's last? Anyway, I can't think of his name. Anyway, he worked with Henry Hancock, and he was a great mentor. It was like, yeah. So I had these people, you know, to actually put me under their wing. You know, especially Barry. I mean, he built a whole studio for me just to work, produce stuff. You know, and then from what I wanted in that studio, they decided to gut out the echo chamber room and put 6 other studios like the one I wanted down at Hitchfield, and they made them for independent producers, you know. And so we would just hashing out stuff like left and right. So yeah, so then yeah, and so I've been, and I'm even doing stuff today. You know, I got some records getting ready to go out. Got a gospel record I finished a long time ago I need to put out, you know. And I'm working on a funk record, so I'm trying to get a hold of George Clinton so he can put his little 2 cents in there somehow. That would help.
Are you still working for Barry?
No, Barry's retired now. The only time I see him once a year before this pandemic started, we have like this, what they call Strike Fest, and we get together and bowl, have food, drink, whatever. Once a year. It's normally in November.
So you're working independently?
Yes, I'm an independent producer, writer. I own a company called Galactic Arts. And yeah, we're really getting ready to rev up a little bit here. You know, this is a stretch. During the stretch, you got to do like stuff. So yeah, that's what I consider. But I love playing. I love actually playing, and it's been hard to play with people because of the pandemic. Right. But I like to stretch out and just play, you know, like jazz, song, whatever it is, you know, really play. Yeah, so basically that's me.
Well, do you think, were we the first back then major group that you played with?
And the first group I played with? No, the first group I played with was my cousin Cordell, the Dynamic Four.
No. What I'm talking about that had a hit record. Why Should We Stop Now was our first hit record.
Okay. Yeah, well, yeah, that was the first group. First group I ever played with that had a significant record, yeah.
Right, that's pretty much what I'm asking you. How was that for you when that happened?
With a hit record? Well,
how do you feel playing for us the very first time?
I thought it was an opportunity, but it was still a learning situation. It wasn't my total goal. I looked at it as a transition or a journey to what I wanted to do. Right. Because after that, I had a personal financial person, and I started my own record label, you know, called Gregor Rudy Records, and I did Freddie Hughes. I produced him on it, and I was doing some what you call payola. I had enough money to do that at 20 years old, 21 years old, and I had his record I would pay people like KDIA. I had a promotion guy. I pay him like a couple of grand, and hey, go ahead and get the sucker played. You know, that record did something. It started making a lot of noise. It's called Sarah May. And and it did. And so that's what I did. That's what my sights were, like doing, you know, getting into it heavy, you know, big. And then I changed the record label to Oaktown Records. And so then I was doing that. But the thing that's discouraged me was all the paperwork. You know, it was just too much paperwork for me to do as I want to play music.
Yeah.
Then you got to go home and do it. But I wish I had did it because it wasn't that much paperwork. I just was too young to want to be patient enough to deal with it. You know, now I wish I had. I'd be a mogul right now.
Yes, you would. I agree with you 100%, Greg.
Mm-hmm.
So, what projects are you on right now? Before you answer that, do you understand that how many times I tried to make Natural 4 continue?
Oh, yeah. You were diligent and you were persistent, trying to keep it together, trying to make the people think in the right form. But like I said before, everybody's thoughts weren't parallel. They were all scattered in different directions. You know, that's the downside of it. But yeah, as much as you tried, it was like a hopeless battle, you know, because
you were speaking with actually both sets of the group. I had another whole set of Natural 4 guys. It was actually 5 of us. Did you see them?
I didn't see them.
I know. We actually had recorded something. That's when I had my own studio. This was later in the 90s with Preston Glass. And we recorded a song called Comeback Jack for the movie Dakota Smith with Fred Williamson. Did you know this?
No.
You never heard the song?
What's the name of it?
It's called Comeback Jack.
No, I don't think I've heard it.
I'm gonna send it to you after we have this interview. I'm gonna send it to you. This is one of several songs that we did with Preston Glass. Well, what happened was I had my own studio at the time on Arthur Street, and so he came over and sold me 10 songs or 8 songs or something. But anyway, I don't think you've never heard him, have you?
Preston Glass, I have. I know him, but
no, not Preston. No, you've never heard the songs.
No, I don't think so.
Have you seen the video called "Serious" that I did?
I'm not sure. I don't think so.
Because it was done in Argentina, and there's an Argentine young lady that is the visual person in there, along with myself.
The only video I saw, basically, I think was the one. Oh, that wasn't even a video, I think. Well, the one that you, Sakia singing with the orchestra and the music that you guys did in Argentina, I think, or some show somewhere, or maybe it was Germany or something. I'm not sure.
Well, Argentina. Before I forget today, I'm going to take a note, and I'm going to make sure that I send you Serious, which is a, I think you'll appreciate it. But anyway, back to you. So what are you engaged in right now?
Right now, I just finished a project. It's a Grateful Dead project for this guy named Chad Dustin. Just finished that. I'm now working on the funk record, as I said before, getting rid of and putting out this inspirational record on Niecy Robinson that I did. And the record that I released in 2017, I never really promoted it. Now I have an apparatus to promote everything I do and get maximize my distribution and people being able to access the record, for streaming and stuff like that. So I have an apparatus set up with some people I had hooked up with Sony, and after they got their the apparatus up and running, now I have access to it. So I'm going to start pushing stuff. That's instead of, I'm going to create too, but I'm going to really start pushing stuff really hard.
When you
And
say, for the lay person, when you say pushing stuff and you have apparatus, can you speak about that?
well, it's an apparatus. Basically, it's a setup where they promote your stuff to a point where you get so many streams. So if you get 1 million streams, then that constitutes a certain amount of revenue coming back from ASCAP and from the streaming companies. They generally want 20% of the returns on the streaming companies, but the ASCAP or BMI is cleared. So, but it costs so much money for them to even be involved. So you might have to pay like $2,500 for them to promote your stuff. I've done friends like that and sent them to my friend to that, and they've gotten over like 150,000 fans and views and stuff like that in a matter of a few days. So that's what I'm going to start accessing since I helped put it together. So that's where I'm at. I'm going to start pushing this.
Okay, so what I'm asking is, for the young lay person out there that would want to follow in your type of footsteps, what advice would you give them?
Well, the first thing I would say is to make sure that this is where your heart's at. I mean, make sure there's a lot of glamour out there. There's people that would be potentially doctors that decided they want to pick up a guitar, but their heart is really not in it. Their heart is into being a doctor, but the thing is that they see all this fancy stuff going on and the money and all this. Say, that's what I want to be, but is that who you are? You know, some people get in there and they fail and they say, wow, I should have finished school or whatever. You better make sure that's what your calling is, number one, because everybody wants the glamorous life. You know, and then once you get to that point and find out who you are and you happen to be a musician or an entertainer, then you need to learn as much as you can about it. You need to learn about the music business. It's a book called This Business of Music. You should get that, learn it, read it, and it will give you all the assets about it, because the most important thing of this business is the business. The musical aspect, sure, you got to have talent. If you don't have talent, why waste your time? You know, and it's got to be God-given. It should be God-given. So that should be something that's in your heart. If it's not, do what's in your heart. Be you. Be who you really are. Find out who you are first. That's what I would suggest to them.
Do you feel that social media is a really good thing right now for people in this business?
Yes, it gives you exposure. It gives you exposure. Without it, you'd be less noted, right? So you got to be in there.
And how difficult do you think it is for people to learn how to deal with social media?
How difficult it is for people to be familiar with the social media is the question?
Yes, I'm just asking to you, what do you think the difficulties of social media are for the novice?
The novice?
I write a song. I put it all together in my house. It's a nice song. People hear it, say it's good. What's the next thing that I should do with that song besides coming to some company like you're talking about? You have. What can
you gotta make sure it's copyrighted before you even do the song, possibly.
Let's assume all that's taken care of. Copyright, blah blah, BMI, ASCAP, all that's done. Now here I have the song in my hand. What's my move?
Well, your move is first to get it distributed. They got apparatuses there with the CD Baby. They'll distribute it throughout the world where it has electronical presence. Well, somebody will hear it. They can go online and find it. Then after that, you got to get exposure. You got to let people know that you're there.
How does that happen?
That's where my streaming people come in, because they're a promotional company.
And the name of your company?
Well, my company is called Galactic Arts, but these people that's extended to it, it's a DJ Sparks. He's a DJ throughout, and he has a internet radio station as well as a peripheral radio station. He has a traditional radio station that he's a DJ on, and he has a promotional company that promotes throughout the world and get your stuff streamed big time. So that's what it's at.
And how expensive is that?
I'm sorry?
How expensive is that?
How it's expensive?
I said, how expensive is it to be able to
access it?
come to you and say, okay, hey man, here's my material. What's it going to cost me?
There are different prices. I can send you a price sheet. It's a price depending on the streaming company you want to be with. Spotify's are cheap as they pay the least amount of money. Apple pays more. Natal pays more, which is Jay-Z and Beyonce's. But they pay different amounts of streams, based on the streams and stuff. So I can send you a price list and you can just look at it. And it tells you a breakdown of all of it.
So the people that see this video, what would you tell them? What information can you give them so that they come to you and say, okay, Greg, we'd like for you to, we heard you on Can This Be Real? We'd like very much for you to, here's our material. And would you be willing to take people that came to you after seeing this video?
Take people to do what? To help them distribute their work?
Exactly.
Yeah, they preferably email me at gcgregcrockett@gmail.com. And then I could deal with it. I will direct them in the right path.
Okay.
And I will give them a price list of what it is.
That's what I was asking you, because hopefully people will get it. They see, they hear you talking, and they want to get a hold of you. I will make sure that at the end of this, I put your email address down so that people can contact you. And don't worry, not your phone number, just your email.
But I'm gonna tell you, I am really kind of like a busy person, but if it's qualified people, yes. If it's just any Joe Blow,
no.
Because because a lot of people think that their stuff sounds good, but it doesn't. You know what I mean? Those people, you know what I'm talking about, right? And but they want a shot. They got the money, but they don't have the talent, and all that reflects on the person that's sending these people in. You know what I mean? And as long as the person is qualified, you know what I'm saying.
Here's what I'll do. At the end of this, I'll say, I'm not going to put your email out there so everybody can get a hold of you. I'll say, if you're interested in working with Greg, send me your information. Let me hear the songs. And if this sounds cool, I'll be the first line of defense.
Right. That needs to be, yes, because
not a problem.
Because a lot of people, there's not too many people know about this stuff, but putting it out there like that, you get a drove of people. Yeah, I got this, all these people.
I'm saying, I'll have them contact me first if I find it legitimate, and I'll even take the time maybe to hear some of the music myself.
Cool.
And see if it's worth it. But anyway, other than that, Greg, again, first and foremost, I want to appreciate you. I appreciate you taking time to chat with me. And if you ever have a notion to want to express yourself a bit more about things that happened back in the day with Natural 4, please feel free. If you think of something that you didn't talk about today, think about it. Send me a message and we'll set up another time that we can hook up and talk about the Natural 4 and its insanity back in the day.
Okay, sounds great. It sounds like a good thing.
Thank you, Greg, for taking time. And you have a great rest of the day, okay?
All right, you have a great day. Thank you.
God bless.
All right, okay. All right.
Well, I hope you enjoyed my chat with Greg Crockett. But right now I'm going to play a couple of songs from our album entitled Things Will Be Better Tomorrow. And this is what's happening now. And the reason that I'm playing because I feel that they're really apropos for what's going on today, coming out of the White House, and number 45. So please sit back, relax, and listen to these songs, enjoy them, and I'll be back right after they're finished.
enough to eat. Surely they must know and understand the moral creed. The world must keep on moving on despite the ghetto need. People of the world, united we must stand. Keep the faith among us now, lend a helping hand. Spread the word far and near to all the distant land. Move to make a better time and help all those we can. 'Cause things will be better tomorrow. Lend a helping hand. Things will be better tomorrow. Help the one you can. Things will be better tomorrow. Oh, they can't be much worse than today. Nothing can be done to make a better day. If we stop to worry what people think and say, it'll keep you satisfied and make you live from day to day. Time has come for us to show the proper way. 'Cause things will be better tomorrow. Help the ones you can. Things will be better tomorrow. Make you stand my brothers. Things will be better tomorrow. 'Cause they can't be much worse than today. Things will be better tomorrow. Things will be better tomorrow. Got to lend a helping hand. Things will be better tomorrow. Things will be better tomorrow. Got to help the ones who can. Things will be better tomorrow. 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 Yesterday has come and gone. The world has changed, time goes on. Astronauts landing on the moon, kids growing up too soon. Listen, people, Planned Parenthood to keep the population down. Taking your pill. Project buildings all around. Got to turn the world's eyes towards love somehow. This is what's happening now. This is what is now. This is what. This is what. This is what is happening now. Too many people on welfare. The politicians just don't care. Can you dig it? When they're asked how do they feel about cutting the budget down, they reply, whatever's fair. Things don't make sense anymore. Poor people just stay poor. Rich man keeps getting fat.
each and every one of you that tuned in to my show. And please come back and see us again. I want to thank again one more time Mr. Greg Crockett for him taking time because I know how busy he is. But I want to thank each and every one of you that have subscribed to my channel. Please stay in touch. If you want to know, I'm not going to just do things with Natural 4. I would like to become a bit more diverse on topics, specifically music, if I can keep it in that area. But again, I want to thank each and every one of you that tuned in today to Can This Be Real? And hope that I see you again. And remember, tell your friends and tell them to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm not looking to make a bunch of money on it. I just would like for people to know what's happening musically with myself and what happened with the group and where we went, things like that. But again, thank you all for tuning in today. Please stay in touch. And please give me some feedback. And in the meantime, in the between time, I want you to, I was moving my mouse. I want you to come back next week and check out another episode of Can This Be Real? I haven't decided what I'm going to do or who I'm going to interview, but I will. Again, thank you. Peace. Music is the key to everything.